And I'm like, I can't be that guy. I can't be the guy at the bottom of the fucking barrel here.
The other topic that you brought up this morning was the whole idea of Alex Hormozy and the concept of like alpha male with him versus like, yeah. And that ultimately it boils down to,
okay, I know.
Yeah. Being that type of person in order to attain that success.
Yeah. So, when Clark and I were in the gym this morning, we were talking about, actually, I was kind of, I guess, reminiscing, even though I never really say I reminisce, but the reason why I was actually reminiscing was, or whatever, what do you call that? Reflect.
Yeah.
The reason why I was actually reflecting is based off of the DMs that I've been getting lately. That's the reason why. I never actually like really, reflect. But I was reflecting because of what's been coming in lately. And what's striking me as an interesting narrative that I'm seeing come in is how lost these young men are in today's society. And I think what is going to be really important moving forward is for me to communicate how I actually got here. Because I got here on purpose. I didn't get here to where I am by luck. I didn't get here, subconsciously. I didn't get here by accident. The reason I got here was because an ex-girlfriend had recently, an ex-girlfriend had broken up with me. This is when I was in my early 20s. And I was like devastated. I was absolutely devastated. And I'm like, I never want to feel like this again. How do I not feel like this again? So I ended up actually changing who I was, my thought process, my mindset, and the way that I did it very high level. And, if people want to see more of this, let me know in the comments or whatever. But the way that I did it was to recognize the fact that who I was not what women want. I had to become a different man that had a different mindset, a different thought process, and a different lifestyle in order to attract, number one, the woman that I wanted, so that I never actually go through this again. Because if I could change the way that I think, change my mindset, and become the man that I know women would actually find attractive and maintain that attractiveness, I wouldn't run into this issue again. I wouldn't. So I went through this like really lengthy, almost like, I don't even know, like, what do you call that? Like when you kind of reinvent yourself.
Yeah, like just a growth period.
Yeah, I went through like this substantial change in my life. And I did it out of, I feel, necessity. And what I need people to understand is that when you develop a lifestyle that is attractive to women, you inherently develop a lifestyle that will make you a better man, a successful man. You'll realize that this type of lifestyle that is attractive, you need to maintain your physical, mental, and emotional health. You need to take health and fitness serious. And all of those things mixed together literally brought me here. It's not because when that girl broke up with me, it wasn't because I thought, I need a bunch of money in order to actually do all this. I need to start my own business. I need to do this. No, that's not what actually happened. Inherently, it actually happened. It didn't happen because I was like, I'm going to start my own shit because that's attractive. No, it was because I actually ended up changing my entire mindset and my entire thought process to enable me to accept, that life is actually really tough, that men need to be men, and women find certain characteristics of specific types of men attractive. Fucking people keep calling me. It's fucking Pia. Yeah, I'll call her after. It was those types of things that brought me to the conclusion where I started to figure, okay, well, this is actually what I need to do with my life because this is what's actually attractive. And one of the things that brought me to that was realizing that what's actually attractive to women is having, ambition, strong convictions, high level of confidence, exuding the ability to provide and protect. Those are not things that say, oh, let's go start your own business and make a bunch of money. That's not what that means. And that's also not necessary. At the time, that was what's available to me because I had also dropped out of school. I didn't have an education. I didn't have a plan B. So I was like, fuck it. I got to make it on my own anyways. I'm going to fucking do my own shit. I obviously don't take direction very well from other people. That's obviously a problem. I don't do very well with, in an environment where there's, authority, stuff like that. So if I don't do well in those kinds of environment, what kind of environment am I going to do well and thrive in, right? But yeah, I think, and then coming to terms with how the real world works. You've seen what we go through. The real world is fucking ruthless. Is it not? Mm-hmm. Like seriously, is it not?
Yeah.
And I think that these guys that come in and DM me this and that, they're like, oh, what should I do to be able to develop a high stress tolerance? There's nothing that you're going to be able to do. The only thing that you can do is like what we do every morning is like go work out and like push yourself to the limit so that every day you can experience high levels of stress, acute stress, so that it actually it allows your body to adapt to acute levels of stress so that when chronic stress comes, business ownership, business management, you're able to actually deal with it because it's not something that you're not used to, because you do take part in, putting your body through acute levels of stress, like high stress levels every day. That's what I can say to people that would help them, adapt, but nothing can prepare you for what we go through on a daily basis. It's an immense amount of stress. Immense.
When you were going through that growth period that you mentioned, besides focusing on like health and fitness surrounding, let's say, for example, like working out and nutrition, what else would be the things that would you say that you'd be focusing on during those times?
Stuff that I'm not 100% sure I want to actually get into right now, to be quite honest. I want to see the reaction of people that I get and the comments that I get in respect to this. I want to see if people are actually interested in what I actually fucking did, because that's actually very important. But stuff that I actually learned how to do was, again, develop an attractive lifestyle. What does that mean? Set out specific ambitions for what I want in my life and goals that I want in my life, and work towards that goal and not allow anybody to take me off that trajectory. Nobody's taking me off that path. That in and of itself is very attractive. Okay, because what women will do is they will try to actually take you off that path. They'll throw little tests here and there to see if you're a strong enough man that will actually get you off that path. And I made sure, because I consciously knew, again, I don't like calling it like studying this kind of stuff, but I was getting really deep in like the psychology of all of this. And that was something that is very important as a man, to not allow external factors, no matter if it's an environment. Are you fucking kidding me? No matter if it's an environmental,
business ownership.
Seriously.
Fucking 7 calls.
No matter. I'm gonna put my shit on private. No matter if it's environmental factors, if it's like family, friends, relationship factors, doesn't matter. Nothing gets you off that path. And not just women, like anybody, right? I didn't let anything get me off my path or change my trajectory. Certain things would knock you off, but you're always following that curve, right?
What's your earliest memory of creating the goals of, let's say, for example, like real estate investment or business ownership or financial freedom or whatever you want to call it. Like, what is your earliest memory of those sorts of things? Because the reason why I ask that is I remember you saying before that you weren't the type of teenager that
I
was
wasn't
like
at all
like entrepreneurial or whatever. Whereas like you get a bunch of DMs from kids that are 16 years old being
Which
like,
is crazy.
Yeah.
I wish I actually was that kid, because now I know that I have it in me. If I would have started like fucking 10 years earlier, like, you know, get a 10-year head start. Anyways, the one thing that I remember setting me on this path was, I've told you this story before, but I had a buddy that, so all my friends are like very highly educated, except for maybe a few. But even those people that aren't highly educated, they're still successful in their own right. But I got like a couple doctors as friends. Like I got like engineers, software engineers. They got like master's degrees, like all this shit. I got like smart friends. So I'm like the only one that doesn't have like a piece of paper that can be framed. I'm literally the only one I'm pretty sure.
You got some right up there.
Yeah, and the paper and shit. But at the end of the day, I'm like the only one that doesn't have something that I can frame, like a certificate, and like put on my fucking wall.
Yeah.
So I remember like this so clearly. I had like a best friend from grade school that I grew up with in the same subdivision and all that kind of shit. And he had gone off to, I want to say Sweden for his master's, or it was like a co-op placement. And I think maybe it was part of his master's of engineering, or I don't remember if it was his undergrad or master's, doesn't matter. Anyways, he came back for like summer or the holiday or whatever. And we went out to this local bar and we were all there. So whenever like, it was like 30 guys, I'm still friends with like a lot of these guys, you know, some of them are, you know, displaced throughout the country or the US, whatever. But we have like this core group of guys, you know, call it maybe 15, 20 now. But anyways, we used to get together when everybody would come home for these holidays and like all go out. So there was like 20, 30 of us at this one like bar. And we were like, I'm pretty sure shooting pool or something like that. It was like a bar / pool place or whatever. And they asked me, or this buddy particularly asked me, you know, hey, what's going on? What are you doing now? Right? And I'm like, oh, I'd taken a year off of school at this point because I was like, fuck, I don't know what I want to do, this and that. And I was working.
How old do you think you were at this time?
I was probably, I might have been 21, 22 years old, maybe 23. I don't fucking remember. I was early 20s for sure.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, you know, I'm working midnights at a gym. And I wasn't like a trainer, or, you know, I didn't it wasn't like I didn't have like a career path, right? In terms of why I was working at the gym. You know, like I know you are like, again, there's nothing against trainers. You were a high level trainer as well, and you can make a shit ton of money being a trainer.
Yeah.
That's not the point. I wasn't even like a trainer, right? I was simply like general labor at a gym. Lifestyles, for anybody that is in the Windsor area. The one on Dougal, actually, when it was above, you know, the Spartan Nutrition or whatever. So I tell him, you know, I'm working midnights at the gym. And he's like, he said something back to me. And I said something. I don't remember if he said something to me or if I said something to him after I had said I'm a trainer working midnights at that particular gym. But his response to whatever was said kind of after that, he said back to me, that's why you'll always be working in a gym. And I was like, man. And you know, like I've told you this story before, right? I don't know that like one day of my life goes by where I don't think about that shit. How he said that to me. And he didn't say it in like a malicious way. Mm-hmm. I feel like when I actually think hard about the setting that we were in, the way he said it, because I could picture it, the tone, it wasn't malicious. I feel it was more, you're capable of more. Mm. Do you get what I mean? Because we were like really good friends. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if that was the spark that was like, holy fuck, what am I going to do with my life? Right? I got all these buddies that are graduating. It was, I do believe, it couldn't have been masters because if it was, maybe it was. because the Masters of Engineering I think was only maybe a year.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so you're probably about 23.
It might have been.
You usually graduate around 22.
I don't remember if it was like around undergrad or if it was around like when these guys were graduating from their masters. I don't remember.
Mm-hmm.
But I do remember after that comment, really actually thinking about things and being like, I don't want to be the loser of the group. I have to change what I'm doing, and this is right around all of that bullshit happening with like my ex-girlfriend, like all that shit. And don't get it twisted. I know exactly why my ex-girlfriend broke up with me. Is because I was not attractive. I was not mentally attractive. I was not emotionally attractive. At that point, I was probably not even physically attractive, even though, you know, girls thought I was really good looking and all that shit. I probably wasn't, because we all know that at the end of the day, physical attraction isn't the most important thing for women. Mm-hmm. So, you know, physically, she's probably looking at me based off those other traits, why she's justifying looking at me thinking he's not even physically attractive. So it was like I was on a very fucking steep decline at that point in my life. You know, I left school. I recently had a girlfriend break up with me that I was like, you know, dumbfounded about. And I didn't have like a career path for me. And I got all my buddies around me graduating with these high degrees, with these really, high level ambitions, and, you know, from what I thought at the time, right? And I'm like, I can't be that guy. I can't be the guy at the bottom of the fucking barrel here. And one of the reasons too is like, guys that are typically successful, they don't want to like be around that kind of person. They don't want to be around that kind of environment, right? So I also didn't want to lose my friends, right? So I went through like this fucking crazy, like, emotional battle with myself at that point in time, and that's when I had to take a really hard look at myself, being like, listen, either I'm gonna like continue down this slippery slope and accept the fact that I'm just gonna be like a fucking loser the rest of my life or whatever, or I'm gonna like do something about it. And I was like, I can't not do something about it. I feel like I did always feel, that's the one thing that I felt always different about, was I do feel one of the reasons why I never actually put a lot of emphasis in school, even though I was actually good in school. I did math competitions and, you know, late in grade school and stuff like that. So I know I'm a smart guy, but I never actually put too much credence in school. For some reason, I always had felt like I'm destined for great things. I don't know where that came from. I don't know why I had that, why I have that, but it is what it is. So probably because of that, it kind of kicked myself. I kicked myself in my own ass, and I was like, "Fuck this! I'm not gonna like live a life of being a fucking loser. I'm gonna do great things, and I'm gonna take a leap of faith and start my own shit based off of everything that I previously said, you know." And that's what ended up fucking happening.